Days before the Punjab elections, which way are the scales tilting? An intriguing battle has erupted over outsider versus insider politics in Punjab, with Charanjit Channi targeting people from outside Uttar Pradesh and Bihar, to which Arvind Kejriwal has retorted and said that Priyanka Gandhi too is a UP ka bhaiya. I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. Let's take a look at our big political focus on the broadcast today. Punjab will be voting in just a few days from now, and it's turned out to be one of the most fascinating elections of this round of polls. Now, there is squarely a battle between Arvind Kejriwal and Charanjit Singh Channi, and Mr. Kejriwal is making an appeal to the voter, give us 80 seats. Why did the Delhi Chief Minister say that? Is he concerned about a hung assembly wherein you could see an unlikely meeting of anti-AAP forces? The latest survey from C Voters suggests that the Aam Aadmi Party is a favorite, but the Shiromani Akali Dal could be a kingmaker. What are the kind of permutations we could look at if Punjab throws up a hung assembly? Will it upend politics and alliances as we know them? These are some of the questions we'll be raising with a panel of expert guests today. Let's introduce them one by one. From the Congress, we are joined. Let's bring him up now on the program by Surjit Singh Swaich. Welcome, Sat Sri Akal, to the program. The Akali Dal is represented today by Parvinder Singh Sethi. Welcome to the program, and Sat Sri Akal ji. We're also joined by veteran Punjab journalist Chander Suta Dogra, who's also in the past tried her hand with politics but returned to her love of journalism. And the man with his ear to the ground, who's been tracking the changes, Yashwant Deshmukh, who of course is one of our best known psephologists. We will be joined by an Aam Aadmi Party leader in minutes from now. Now, Yashwant, before we look at this very interesting outsider versus insider politics that is playing out between Mr. Kejriwal and Mr. Channi, you've been tracking the changes. Are you picking up a change? Your earlier survey, let's say about 4 or 5 weeks ago, suggested that Mr. Channi was the most popular choice for Chief Minister, but Aam Aadmi Party was the most popular party. Is there any change in this? What prompted Arvind Kejriwal to say to the voter, bhai hame 80 seat de dena?
Change in the last 15 days or so before, when we released our last poll, Barkha, the moment Kejriwal actually declared Bhagwant Mann as the chief ministerial candidate, Mann's number actually went up leaps and bounds, because earlier also you remember when we were discussing that Bhagwant Mann's number and Arvind Kejriwal's number put together, they were higher than Channi's number. So once Arvind Kejriwal's name were out of the fray, Bhagwant Mann's number were almost 7-8 points more than Channi. So that got changed immediately. I think there was 6 weeks upswing for Mr. Channi when he was declared. But then, as we have discussed, there is a consistent bickering within the Congress and, cutting down Channi's name. And that has not done great thing for the Congress in totality. What I feel, Arvind Kejriwal is realizing one thing very clearly. Here is a chance for him to actually go for a complete knockout. When I say that, that means basically trying to get the absolute majority number on his own, because he knows very well that the way things stand, even if he falls short by 5 seats, it is likely that rest everybody altogether would try their best not to let them form the government in Punjab. So, that is a possibility where, you open up. So first of all, Arvind Kejriwal or Aam Aadmi Party have to win the Punjab by a complete majority. Otherwise, if they fall short by even 5 seats, I know for sure that rest of the parties will make their life hell. It will be very, very difficult for them to get into coalition. They cannot go into coalition with Congress. They cannot go into coalition with Akalis. They certainly cannot. I cannot see a thing where they can go into a coalition with the BJP, even though many people say that BJP is not even there. That's not the case. Barkha, the second thing that has changed, and we have been consistently monitoring, for the last 4 to 6 weeks, is that there is a certain Hindu consolidation for BJP in certain pockets. Pathankot, Jalandhar, then parts of Amritsar and Gurdaspur and Patiala as well. So there is an urban movement of Hindu votes towards the BJP, and all of a sudden the capital equation is very much in play. They are roughly into 30 seats, Barkha, where they are in good contest. When I say good contest, that means they are going to be in the top 3 for sure. And there are at least 15 seats in Punjab where the BJP captain combined is likely to contest for number 1 or number 2 seat.
Very, very, very interesting. And you talk about Hindu consolidation. We're seeing these pictures of the Prime Minister in a kind of kirtan with Punjabi women. And Yashwant, talk a little bit about the Akalis and the kingmaker factor. That is something, the media has also ignored what might happen with the Akalis. And they've been very quietly chipping away at their core constituencies.
Yes, and nobody should be taking them, lightly, because Akalis have certainly the strongest possible cadre on the ground for sure. But the momentum has been not in their side. But slowly and steadily, what we can find out that, due to the internal bickering of the Congress, the Jat Sikh vote of the Congress also has started moving out. And once they start moving out, they have got only two parties to split in. Number one beneficiary of that was Akali Dal, has been Akali Dal, because the anti-Aam Aadmi Party, Jat Sikh, whichever portion was there for Congress, if they go out, a big number of them are likely to go back to Akalis rather than Aam Aadmi Party. But a certain section which is allergic to Akalis, that is going in favor of the Aam Aadmi Party. So what I can tell you that over the last 1 year of tracking, I have not seen Aam Aadmi Party's tracking number going down, barring the 6 weeks period when Mr. Channi was appointed. And after the 6 weeks, again, they were back in the lead as far as the vote share was concerned. And Barkha, you remember almost a year back when we started saying that Aam Aadmi Party is ahead at that point of time, almost the entire qualitative block or the analyst block, they were saying that Aam Aadmi Party is nowhere in the race. Race is between Congress and the Akalis. Aam Aadmi Party is probably at number 3 and less than 10 seats, which was certainly not the case. And now everybody has started realizing that they have a pole position, and not only the pole position, now we are thinking into possibility whether they can get a majority or they will be falling short of majority. So what I'm trying to say, that Punjab is actually going to vote for a change. And there is a huge anti-incumbency and huge movement for sentiment for change.
So can I summarize by saying that AAP in your service is very much the favorite, the front runner. Bhagwant Mann's being officially declared as chief ministerial candidate has helped the AAP, and the only thing AAP has to now worry about is getting a clear majority on its own.
I would pretty much say so, that has been the finding for almost 6 months now. My only thing is that it is getting the two things which have gained in the last few weeks. One is the Shiromani Akali Dal. That is also at the expense of the Congress. And the Hindu polarization for the BJP and Captain combined, that is also coming from the Congress quarter. So the upswing of Akalis and the BJP combination, Akalis separately and BJP Captain combination, that is coming actually at the cost of the Congress. So if the Congress goes down, I feel that the default benefactor in big number of seats of that meltdown of Congress could be Aam Aadmi Party as well. But I cannot rule out the possibility of the hung, and then out of the blue, Akali is becoming the kingmaker, and for the heck, who knows, Barkha, if Captain and the BJP combination gets into a double figure of sort, I mean, they might be calling the shots as well. So certainly Aam Aadmi Party is in pole position, but it is very, very important for Arvind Kejriwal to ensure that he crosses the majority mark on his own. Otherwise, he will find all sort of troubles.
Very interesting. And let's get Congress and Akali's leaders to come in just a moment. Now, what's happened is that in the last lap of campaigning, Charanjit Channi, who in my opinion, the Congress declared a chief ministerial candidate far too late. The Aam Aadmi Party took an advantage of at least 2 weeks over that and did not present a divided house like the Congress. But Charanjit Channi is suggesting कि ये बाहर वाले लोग, ये यूपी के भैया यहाँ आ गए हैं with a very interesting dragging in now of Priyanka Gandhi Vadra into the middle of this conversation. Listen in first to what Mr. Channi had to say.
Oh, bhai, Punjabiyan di roh hai Priyanka Gandhi. Saadi Punjabon hai. Punjabiyan di roh hai. Ek bhai tagde ho ke ek paase ho jao Punjabiyo. Ye jehde UP de, Bihar de, Delhi de bhaiye aage raj kar dena bad nahi bana.
Okay, so Arvind Kejriwal is calling Priyanka Gandhi a sort of UP ki bahu. Now, this controversy has come up because earlier he said ye UP ki bhaiya ko hum aane nahi denge, to which Arvind Kejriwal said, फिर प्रियंका गांधी भी तो यूपी की भैया है. Listen in.
चन्नी ने कहा कि भैयों को पंजाब में नहीं घुसने दिया जाएगा. प्रियंका गांधी मुस्कुराती रही.
ये बहुत शर्म की बात है कि किसी भी ये हमारा पूरा देश एक है. किसी भी व्यक्ति को, मेरे को भी वो काला 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 कहते रहते हैं. किसी भी व्यक्ति के बारे में, किसी भी वर्ग विशेष के बारे में गलत टिप्पणी करना, हम इसकी कड़ी निंदा करते हैं.
प्रियंका गांधी भी तो यूपी को बिलोंग करती है, तो एक
वो भी तो भैया हो गई.
तो भैया तो फिर यूपी और बिहार पर को भी, मतलब उनको ये पता नहीं रहता.
प्रियंका गांधी भी तो फिर यूपी की भैया हो गई. This is, completely fun politics. This is what we love about elections, this repartee. Before I get the politicians in, do the experts want to have, Chander, you always made the point that this outsider-insider politics is no place in Punjab, yet Punjab has a very strong sense of identity. Given what a strong sense of identity Punjab has, why do you think कि लोगों को फर्क नहीं पड़ता कि केजरीवाल जी बाहर के हैं? Which is something Mr. Channi has repeated again and again and again.
Yes, which is why Charanjit Channi is hammering away at this point. He is trying his best that it makes a dent somewhere, but I can tell you that Punjabis are really not bothered about this. Bahar ke ho, kale ho, UP ke ho, kuch bhi ho, the buzz in Punjab is कि कुछ काम करके दिखाइए. दिल्ली की तरह अगर यहाँ पर भी हमारे को facilities और बिजली, पानी, etc. schools अच्छे बना दे, we don't mind where you come from. That is the sentiment on the ground. So this outsider-insider, you're right, very strong identity politics have happened in Punjab in the past. But I think the electorate is now realizing that Sikh identity or Punjabi identity and rooting for local Punjabi leaders hasn't really improved their lives in any way. So this time, yes, the sentiment for change is so strong that it is overriding all these other factors which we used to see in previous elections. Even the conventional, Purana, traditional issues of Punjab, like territory, river waters, religion, panth, khatre mein hai and all that, we're not seeing any of that. It's just change. And because there is this huge groundswell which wants change, so the Congress also tried to, I mean, other parties are also saying, well, we are agents of change and we will bring that change. And the focus is now on good governance. And, so people are not talking about those old issues of water, territory.
So basically, you're saying that Mr. Channi is missing a mark here by focusing so much on Kejriwal's outside antecedents.
Yes,
let's get. All right, we've got Ravinder ji of the Aam Aadmi Party also with us. Let's get perspectives from Punjab's own politicians. Let me start with you, Surjit ji. ये focus on Kejriwal being from outside, कि ये तो बाहर वाले हैं, with Priyanka Gandhi by your side. Isn't this a contradiction? मतलब इससे क्या चन्नी जी प्रूव करना चाहते हैं?
Well, Channi ji was not saying something about identity politics. What he was talking about was the Arvind Kejriwal, because he comes from Haryana. Mm-hmm. And there are certain issues like SYL, like pollution, because Kejriwal always blames Punjab farmers for pollution in Delhi. So what Channi said, that was in that context only. Otherwise, we in Punjab, we say, Ek noor te sab jag upja, kaun phale ko mande. We Punjabis, we believe in that. Yes. We believe in that falsafa. So therefore, we should not read too much about identity politics in what Channi has said. Because Kejriwal can never do justice with Punjab.
Why do you say that?
Yes, there is the reason for this. Mm-hmm. Because Kejriwal always talks against the people of Punjab when he files affidavit in Supreme Court.
For example,
all Punjab thermal plants, they should be closed down because the pollution from those thermal plants comes to Delhi. And from this stubble burning also, he blames the farmers of Punjab for pollution in Delhi. So it was that context only.
Okay. And, can I ask you something?
Yes,
Can I
yes,
ask
yes,
you
yes,
something?
yes, yes.
Do you believe there is going to be a hung assembly? What did you make of Kejriwal ji asking for 80 seats? Surjit ji.
Kejriwal may say anything. They were saying in 2017 that they are getting more than 100 seats. How much they got? 20 only. And today, how much they have? Only 8 or 9. All others have gone. Some have come to Congress, some have gone to other ways. So this time also, this is a bubble and bubble in the air only. There's
Okay, so
nothing
you
on the
think
ground. There's nothing on the
okay.
ground.
Okay, you think the bubble will burst again, like
Yeah,
it did,
again it will burst.
like it did. But I still want to look at, because that is our job. Yashwant, Chander, and my job is to look at possible scenarios and outcomes. Parvinder ji, ये Akalis have been ignored. हम सब ने थोड़ा थोड़ा ignore किया. लगा कि लड़ाई बिल्कुल चन्नी जी और केजरीवाल जी और भगवंत मान जी के बीच में है. Now Yashwant Deshmukh says you will be the kingmaker. Will the Akalis, if they have the choice to be kingmaker, who is enemy number one? Is it Congress or is it Aam Aadmi Party? Parvinder ji.
मैं आपको सबसे पहले ये बात कहना चाहूंगा कि जो हमारे भारतीय राजनीति में बड़े से बड़े नेता छोटी से छोटी बात जब कर जाते हैं तो सिर जो है ना शर्मिंदा होना पड़ता है, क्योंकि जो आज का यूथ है पॉलिटिक्स और पॉलिटिशियंस को लाइक नहीं करता। हम सबकी कलेक्टिव जिम्मेवारी है कि हम अपने मयार को ऊंचा रखें, अपने किरदार को बुलंद रखें, और शिरोमणि अकाली दल उस तरह की टैक्टिक्स में नहीं पड़ता, वो काम में बिलीव करता है। देखिए, जब भी कोई चुनाव होता है, जितनी भी पार्टीज है अपना मैनिफेस्टो लेके जाती हैं और अपना पिछले काम का रिपोर्ट कार्ड देती हैं कि हमने ये किया। पंजाब के अंदर जितने भी डेवलपमेंट के काम हुए, चाहे आप 6 जगहों के एयरपोर्ट्स की देख लीजिए, चाहे मंडीकरण की देख लीजिए, चाहे वहां पे जितने भी गरीब लोगों को घर बनाने की देख लीजिए, उनके ऊपर बात होनी चाहिए कि आप स्वास्थ्य के लिए क्या कर रहे हैं, आप शिक्षा के लिए क्या कर रहे हैं, आप रोजगार के लिए क्या कर रहे हैं, जो आप इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन के लिए क्या कर रहे हैं।
पर मेरे एक सवाल का जवाब तो दें। मैं आपकी बात सुन ली। अब आप ये बताइए, ऐसा सिनेरियो आया जहां किसी की भी बहुमत अपने बेसिस पे, अपनी स्ट्रेंथ पे ना आए, तो अकालीस के सामने क्या एनिमी नंबर 1 कौन है?
नहीं, देखिए, एनिमी का तो कोई सवाल नहीं है, लेकिन मैं आपको बताऊं कि ये आप चाहे कांग्रेस पार्टी को देख लीजिए, चाहे आम आदमी पार्टी को देख लीजिए, पंजाब की जो सबसे बड़ी जो समस्याएं हैं उसमें से ड्रग माफिया, शराब माफिया, रेता माफिया, जिससे लोग बहुत ज्यादा परेशान हैं, उस शराब माफिया को ले जाके वो दिल्ली में ले जाते हैं। मेरी बात को आप पूरा होने दीजिए। उस शराब माफिया को ले जाकर वो दिल्ली में ले जाते हैं, वहां पे सेटल कर देते हैं, जो सरकारी शराब की दुकानें बंद करा के नई दुकानें खुलवा देते हैं, और इसके अंदर हजारों करोड़ का स्कैम है। ये जांच का विषय है, भारत की सरकार को जांच करनी चाहिए। इसके अलावा जो वहां पे 6-7 हजार गवर्नमेंट जॉब्स हैं, देखिए जो 6-7 हजार गवर्नमेंट जॉब्स हैं, ये बड़ा सीरियस इशू के ऊपर मैं बात कर रहा हूँ। जो वो जॉब खत्म हो रही हैं, तो जो बुद्धिजीवी लोग हैं वो इसको सब चीजों को एनालाइज करके वोट डालेंगे।
मैं तो ये पूछ रही हूँ कि वोट डालने के बाद क्या होगा, लेकिन आप उसका अभी आई थिंक यू आर नॉट रेडी फेयरली इनफ टू टेक दैट ऑन।
नहीं, मैं आपकी बात का भी जवाब दे देता हूँ। हम फुल मेजोरिटी में आ रहे हैं, ये ओवर कॉन्फिडेंस की बात नहीं है, और ये बात करनी नहीं चाहिए। ना हमने कोई फेक सर्वे कराए हैं, ना हमने कोई पेड सर्वे कराए हैं, और ना हमने इस तरह का कोई वो बनाया है कि हम आ रहे हैं। हम काम में
10 मार्च को बात करेंगे, 10 मार्च को बात करेंगे।
Definitely.
Ravinder ji, before I go back to Yashwant, so being a psephologist is a dangerous business like being a journalist. If you don't confirm somebody's bias, they call you biased. यही हम ऐसे हालात में रहते हैं। But Ravinder ji, आप लोगों ने बहुत पहले भी आरोप किया कि सब बाकी मिले हुए हैं। You actually think this is AAP versus the rest. If you had to analyze, why did Arvind Kejriwal say हमें 80 सीट दीजिए? Some people could say this is a lack of confidence कि हम आगे हैं, but शायद हम finishing line ना cross कर सके।
There's nothing like that, and your statement which you have given that the AAP versus rest, that is very clear, because आप देखिए बहुत सारी सीट्स हैं जहां पर अकालीस खुलकर बीजेपी का सपोर्ट कर रहे हैं, और जहां पर बीजेपी स्ट्रांग है 2-3 सीट्स के ऊपर, और बहुत सारी ऐसी सीट्स भी हैं बरखा जी जहां पर बीजेपी अकाली दल का वो समर्थन कर रही है, क्योंकि उनको पता है कि दे डू हैव सम रिलेशन इन द पार्ट एंड दे कैन अमेलगमेट अगेन।
Can you elaborate on how they are helping each other? In your opinion, they're helping each other. बताइए कैसे?
They are helping. There is a seat from where the Punjab has started, Rajpura. So in Rajpura, Akalis are they started supporting BJP. Anil Joshi की सीट है, अकाली दल की सीट है, वो लड़ रहे हैं. तो वहां पर जो BJP has started supporting Anil Joshi. ऐसे ही मजीठिया में तो अकालीस भी BJP भी सपोर्ट कर रही है. इवन तो कांग्रेस itself supporting Manjithia for the pull the
तो
Sidhu
आप
down.
मुझे ये बताइए,
तो ये सारी चीजें हो रही हैं. और 75-25 का इनके, और ये नई बात नहीं है. सिद्धू जी कहते रहे हैं कि 75-25 की राजनीति करती है कांग्रेस. 75 पैसे जो करप्शन है वो कांग्रेस करती है, और जब अकालीस ऑपोजिशन में होते हैं तो 25 पैसे करप्शन अकालीस करते हैं. तो ये तो एलिगेशन.
एक मिनट रविंद्र जी, आप ये कह रहे हैं कि अमृतसर के चुनाव में वेर इट इज सिद्धू वर्सेस द वेरी कंटेंशियस विक्रम मजीठिया, आप कह रहे हैं कि कांग्रेस के अपने लोग ही सिद्धू को वीकन कर रहे हैं टू हेल्प.
बहुत सारे चन्नी का ब्रदर जो है, बसी पठाना फतेहगढ़ साहिब में एक सीट पड़ती है, वहां से इंडिपेंडेंट खड़ा है. इनके कुछ ऐसे लीडर्स भी हैं जो ओपनली कहते हैं कि मैं राणा गुरजीत को जीतने नहीं दूंगा. राणा गुरजीत कांग्रेस के लीडर है, वो कहते हैं कि मैं फलां लीडर को जीतने नहीं दूंगा. ये ऐसा तो बहुत सारी फ्रेगमेंटेशन है. अगर मैं ये एलैबोरेट
तो ये जो फ्रेगमेंटेशन है, the Congress factionalism has played out in the public. Yashwant, I know Parvinder and Surjit and Chander want to respond, but just a quick response from you. One, of course, every politician will say उनका काम है कि हम जीतेंगे, काउंटिंग के दिन हम जीतेंगे, सर्विस झूठ है. Let's put that aside. I don't think we need to react to that. That's what politicians do. This allegation that on the ground there is a crafty adjustment between seeming opponents, does your survey pick up on this, and does it reflect in the voter confusion?
I tell you, it is very difficult to pick that up in a survey. People do not tell you about, but we do try to ask different kind of questions, say asking people who would be the second party you would like to vote for if they, it's like, which is your second choice of party. And we try to figure out what could happen if there is a kind of realignment and those kind of things. And it's an open secret, Barkha, that 5 years back, it was the transfer of Hindu votes to Congress that made the Congress win. And it was a last moment transfer from the RSS and the BJP and their stock. Now that its number is coming back to them, they are no more leasing it out to the Congress, So my point is that in totality, what I can sense, leave aside Aam Aadmi Party, this party, that party, all I can tell you, there is a huge sentiment for change in Punjab. Now, who can get benefited out of the change? Survey is showing right now it is Aam Aadmi Party, which is in a lead position to get benefited out of that. But as they say in Hindi, हमारे यहाँ पे कहावत है बरका, दूध का जला छाछ भी फूंक के पीता है. 5 साल पहले भी हमने बोला था ये बात, और हम ये मानते हैं कि हमने बोला था, लेकिन वोट में कन्वर्ट नहीं हुआ. और हमें उसके रीजंस भी पता है. लेकिन 5 साल पहले ये भी बात थी बरका कि आम आदमी पार्टी की कोई इलेक्टोरल हिस्ट्री नहीं थी हम सिफोलॉजिस्ट के पास में, जिसके ऊपर हम प्रोजेक्शन करते. आज हमारे पास में फॉर ईच एंड एवरी सीट वी हैव एन इलेक्टोरल हिस्ट्री एंड बेटर मॉडल टू सी वेयर दे कैन गो. एंड राइट नाउ आई कैन से देयर इज अ ह्यूज सेंटिमेंट फॉर चेंज. And as far as I can see, Aam Aadmi Party is the biggest beneficiary of that sentiment for change. Now, whether that change would yield them the complete power, or will it be they will falling short of that, and there would be other stakeholders like Kaptan Saab and BJP on one side and Akali Dutt on the other side. That will make the thing really murky. But I cannot say it cannot happen, because say for example, Barkha, if there is a situation where Akalis and the Congress they get 30 piece each, and can I say that that there is no possibility of Maharashtra getting repeated in Punjab? No way. It is pretty, if Shiv Sena and Congress can come together, if PDP and BJP can come together, last 7 years have done wonderful politically that we are now out of all these isms. This is, and it's good for Indian democracy, I tell you, because the more we talk about it, it's good. And so I can see if Aam Aadmi Party, if Kejriwal falls short of the magic figure, then I can see Maharashtra getting repeated.
Very interesting. Basically, you're saying the Akalis and the Congress could come together to stop Kejriwal from forming the government if that situation, if the numbers throw up that option for the Aam Aadmi Party. Surjit ji and Parvinder ji, as the Congress and Akali leaders, would you want to react? Surjit ji, pehle aap.
First thing, there are no ifs and buts. No ifs and buts. Congress is getting clear majority, and 2017 is going to be repeated.
Okay.
People of Punjab will never trust Kejriwal. They will never trust Kejriwal. They know it. They see through it, because it's not the first time. They have done nothing. We have given the people of Punjab have given 2 chances to Kejriwal. One, 2014, Mr. Bhagwant Mann, their face for the chief minister, he was elected in 2014. Then again 2019, what did he do in Sangrur? Nothing. Let Mr. Arvinder say.
Yes. Okay. So you are saying
single thing what Bhagwant Mann did in Sangrur. Single thing.
सर एक मिनट, आप कह रहे हैं कि ये नौबत ही नहीं आएगी, आप कह रहे हैं ये नौबत ही नहीं आएगी,
no, not at all.
Okay, you are saying situation will not arise, Parvinder ji, if it arises, because the Akalis, let's for a moment put aside your belief that the Akalis have a chance of forming the government of their own. Respond to this scenario where Yashwant Deshmukh says Maharashtra can repeat itself. In Punjab, Shiv Sena and the Congress came together to form the BJP. Could the Akalis and the Congress come together to stop the Aam Aadmi Party? Parvinder ji? Sir,
predict the future. Nobody can predict the future. लेकिन मैं आज के सिनेरियो बताता हूँ, ऐसी कोई सिचुएशन नहीं है। दूसरी बात मैं आपको बताता हूँ, अभी आम आदमी के जो प्रवक्ता वो बोल रहे थे 75-25, मैं राघव चड्ढा जी के साथ बैठा था, मैंने कहा आप ऐसी बात मत बोलिए, क्योंकि अरविंद केजरीवाल जी कोर्ट के अंदर एफिडेविट देके माफी मांग के आए थे मजिठिया जी के साथ। पहली बात। दूसरी बात ये है कि जब आम आदमी पार्टी पिछली बार आई थी, जो इसको खड़ा करने वाले जो उसके फाउंडर मेंबर थे, चाहे छोटेपुर साहब हों, चाहे विक्रम जी हों जो शौर्य चक्र विजेता हैं, वो उन्होंने अकाली दल ज्वाइन कर लिया। एक बड़ी लंबी फहरिस्त है जिन्होंने आम आदमी पार्टी को छोड़ा। जब इनकी 20 सीटें आती हैं, इनके 12 एमएलए छोड़ जाते हैं, 4 एमपी चुने जाते हैं, 3 एमपी छोड़ जाते हैं। उसकी सबसे बड़ी रीजन ये है कि ये अपनी टिकटें सेल करते हैं। पहले लोगों को काम पे लगा देते हैं, उन्होंने पार्टी को खड़ा करा, उसके बाद दिल्ली से लोग आते हैं और दिल्ली से आकर वो टिकटों को सेल करते हैं 3-3 करोड़ रुपए में। इस वजह से उन्होंने ओपनली, जो इनके फाउंडर मेंबर थे, उन्होंने ऑन कैमरा बोला है, और दिल्ली के अंदर भी सेम सिचुएशन है। और अभी जो इन्होंने टिकटें बांटी हैं, उसमें मैक्सिमम लोग जो हैं, they who were rejected from Akali Dal and Congress.
Can I ask you to just talk briefly, and then I want to come to Ravinder and Chander. आपने कहा nobody can predict the future. मुझे तो पूरी कहानी उस सेंटेंस में समझ आ गई कि nobody can predict the future. भाई कुछ भी हो सकता है। You know, नीतीश कुमार ने मुझे एक बार ही बोला था, जब वो बीजेपी के साथ नहीं थे, कि कल का किसने देखा है। जब एक नेता कहने लगे, यशवंत, you will agree with this, that who knows about the future, that is an answer in itself. रविंदर जी, एक मिनट, रविंदर जी, आपको क्या सुनाई दे रहा है? When the Akalis say nobody has predicted the future, आम आदमी पार्टी के प्रवक्ता होते के नाते आपको क्या सुनाई दे रहा है, समझ आ रहा है इसमें?
बरखा जी, मुझे अकेले को नहीं, मैंने तो आपको पहले ही बताया, ये इस बात को अपने आप में प्रूव करता है कि ऑल द पार्टीज आर इन द मूड कि केजरीवाल और आम आदमी पार्टी और भगवंत मान कहीं पंजाब में ना आ जाए। क्योंकि अगर एक बार भगवंत मान पंजाब का सीएम बन गया, ये 2014 की बात स्वैच साहब कर रहे थे। स्वैच साहब, पंजाब के लोगों को नहीं पता था कि एक एमपी को 5 करोड़ रुपया मिलता है। इट वाज भगवंत मान जिसने पंजाब के लोगों को बताया कि एमपी लैट का फंड भी होता है भाई साहब, उसको खर्च भी करना पड़ता है। भगवंत मान उन 13 एमपीज में से एक है, 12 के 12 एमपीज में से 1 करोड़ रुपया भी नहीं खर्च करते अपने टेन्योर में। और भगवंत मान सर क्यों पीछे बोल रहे हैं? Kindly mute his mic. Kindly mute his mic. और my question is, Bhagwant Mann is the only MP जिसने अपने 5 के 5 करोड़ रुपए अपना रिपोर्ट कार्ड लेकर गया कि मैंने सारे पैसे लगाया। और इसके बाद
same question for you. If you do not have the 80 seats, what will you do? किसके पास जाएंगे आप? आप किसके साथ बिजनेस करने के लिए तैयार हैं?
We are ready to do business for the people of Punjab. अगर 80 सीट why the party? अगर अगर पंजाब हमें बहुमत, वैसे तो जो यहाँ पे मेजॉरिटी सीट्स हैं वो 60 चाहिए, 80 में फुल मेजॉरिटी आती है, 80 65 प्लस में आपको फुल मेजॉरिटी में,
you know what I mean, that if you don't get the majority on your own,
हम ऑपोजिशन में बैठेंगे, we will be very pleased to be the opposition of Aam Aadmi of Punjab and will raise the voice of people of Punjab. और अगर पंजाब के लोगों के लिए सड़कों पे बैठना 5 साल और मंजूर है, लेकिन अपने विचार से नहीं हिलेंगे, I'm pretty much sure about that. आप इस बात की, इसमें एक और चीज ऐड ऑन करता हूं, बरखा जी, आपको क्या लगता है, हमें ढींसा साहब ने अलायंस के लिए कांटेक्ट नहीं किया? आपको क्या लगता है बीएसपी हमारे पास नहीं आई थी? आपको क्या लगता है जितने भी अलाइड ग्रुप्स हैं पंजाब के वो हमारे पास नहीं आए थे? लेकिन केजरीवाल वाज वेरी श्योर अबाउट दैट कि बात पंजाब के लोगों की करनी है, बात विकास की करनी है, बात बदलाव की।
चलिए रविंदर जी, I need to get Chander in and then I will need to give Yashwant. I know Parvinder ji, you have one line, brief interjection, बिल्कुल छोटा रखिए परविंदर जी, बोलिए।
हाँ जी, मैं ये कहना चाहता हूँ, आपने मेरी बात का इंटरप्रिटेशन गलत करा। मेरा मतलब है कि नो वन कैन द प्रेडिक्ट द फ्यूचर, कि कौन आएगा पावर में, कौन आएगा। वी आर वेरी मच क्लियर कि हमारा किसी के साथ अलायंस नहीं होगा। लेकिन मैं आपको इनको रविंदर जी को एक बात बता दूं, राजनीति हमारी विचारधाराएं अलग हो सकती हैं, लेकिन हमारे दुश्मनी नहीं है किसी के साथ। आपके तो आपकी पार्टी के लोग छोड़ के जा रहे हैं, हमारा तो जब बादल साहब सीएम थे तो वो मनमोहन सिंह जी से भी काम करा के लाते थे। ये एक रिस्पेक्ट की बात है, ये एक रिस्पेक्ट की बात है, ये स्टेटस एंड रिस्पेक्ट की बात।
Can I request everyone to speak one by one because I can't follow the conversation. I'll get Chander, then Surjit, then Yashwant can close the debate for us. Chander, 2-3 things very interesting here. One, the allegation that on ground there's already strategic cooperation between seeming opponents. A divided Congress will not let, let's say, Sidhu's faction rise, as the allegation is in Amritsar. 2, Yashwant's intriguing and entirely plausible scenario of a repeat of Maharashtra in Punjab. Your take?
Yeah, certainly. I agree with that. And there is a distinct cross connections already, which are discernible in Punjab, where you can see, people joining hands behind the scenes for possible post-poll scenarios. Yes, that's happening. And now the mood for change, let's just come for a minute to that, because it's so strong. Other parties do not represent that change which the Aam Aadmi Party is at the moment, which is why people are rooting for the Aam Aadmi Party. Secondly, after what has happened, this whole Charanjit Channi, Navjot Sidhu fiasco, etc. in the Congress, it has brought the Congress down. Certainly, the craze for Charanjit Channi has also diminished somewhat. And there is a realization now, I think that is what Kejriwal is hammering over. There should be, please give us 80. There is a realization that if we don't vote decisively, we can end up with a hung assembly. And Punjab hasn't had a hung assembly for, years and years. One doesn't really remember when. So, yes, the people are realizing this. And I think this is also something which is working for the Aam Aadmi Party, which is why Arvind Kejriwal is talking about this. There is the other parties, when you're talking about that, is everybody ganging up? Yes, certainly there is a distinct effort to actually bring about a hung assembly. Now, I would say that the BJP, the Amrinder Party, and the Dhimsa group, including the Akali Dal, they would all like such a post-poll scenario where they get to play kingmaker, whether it is the Akali Dal or the BJP also probably has a chance. So there is this move to prevent the Aam Aadmi Party from crossing the finishing line. Certainly.
Very interesting phrase, cross connections. The cross connections are already underway according to Chander. Surjit ji, briefly, and then I'll give Yashwant Deshmukh the last word. Surjit ji, boliye sir.
Ma'am, the fact of the matter is that Aam Aadmi Party Chief Ministerial face Bhagwant Mann is losing from Dhuri. Dalveer Goldie is winning from there with thumping majority. This is the fact of the matter, the ground level. So what to talk about the Aam Aadmi Party forming government in Punjab? Nothing, no question at all.
Okay.
The same thing the race is Akali Dal and Aam Aadmi Party for second position. So who will be the opposition party in Punjab?
Okay, I will only say that Okay, I will only say that these numbers will test all of your contestations on the 10th of March. Yashwant, one thing that has shifted is the personal popularity of Bhagwant Mann has now outpaced Charanjit Channi in your surveys. That wasn't the case earlier. If you just want to close with your thoughts on that.
The two things which were in the case earlier, 3 months back, first of all, Bhagwant Mann's declaration as the CM candidate has galvanized the Aam Aadmi Party support. No doubt about that. They are in our pre-poll surveys that we released. They were sweeping Malwa, and they were making very incredible inroads in Macha and Doaba as well. So that is done. I mean, that is something which we have already reported. I only want to wait and see if this groundswell can actually convert into the real votes, or it fizzles out like 5 years back. That is where I always say, मैं जल चुका हूँ last 5 साल पहले, इसलिए मैं हमेशा I am being a conservative on that one. But if it really gets converted, I don't think Aam Aadmi Party or Arvind Kejriwal will need anybody's support if they really get it converted. Number one. Number two, in the last 3 months back, Barkha.
One second, Chander, brief interjection before Yashwant closes. I saw your hand go up. Chander, one second, Chander.
I just want to make one small point. That is that when we are talking about the post-poll scenario, and if the Aam Aadmi Party doesn't get a clear majority, and the AAP spokesperson said that we'll be happy to sit in the opposition, I don't think that would be true. The Aam Aadmi Party is equally amenable to getting into alliances post-poll. It could be with the Congress, it could be with the Kisan grouping. It could be. So they are equally,
Absolutely. Yashwant, sorry, complete your point. Yeah.
So I totally agree. I mean, on that front as well. But by and large, I feel that it is imperative for them to cross the majority on their own. Otherwise, it will be messy. Because I see others grouping much more strongly than anybody grouping with Aam Aadmi Party at this point of time. However, in the last 3 months, Barkha, there is one more thing that has surprised me. 3 months back, we were not even talking about 3 seats in Punjab where BJP and the NDA would be in contest. Not even 3 seats. And post taking the farm bills back and, the silent Hindu majority during the farm protests, which were not saying anything, I can see there is a traction, and very significant traction. And all of a sudden, we see them in contest in 30 odd seats. 3 months back, I was not even counting 3 seats for them. For Captain Ravinder Singh and BJP combined to getting anywhere. Right now, they are in good contest in 30 seats. I don't know how many they can convert. But what I can say is that they are getting great traction over there because of the Hindu consolidation. Now, even if it doesn't materialize into winnable seats for them, this Hindu consolidation is not a good news for the Congress to start with, because this was precisely the vote which took them to the podium finish in 2017. So I can sense that for the Congress, the upswing of the Akalis in terms of Jat Sikh voters in Malwa and upswing of the BJP captain combination in terms of Hindu voters, either ways, this is not a good news. And the parties like Captain Amrinder Singh and BJP, which we were not discussing for 3 seats 3 months back, if they are getting in good contest in 30 odd seats and 15 seats kind of a winnable kind of a contest, then Punjab is long from over. But yes, one thing is sure. People want change. They want to vote for change. Now, what kind of change that will result in, and I totally agree with you, Barkha, that I don't remember the last time when Punjab had given a hung assembly.
Yes.
So people, for that matter, we don't even know in India when was the last time we actually had a genuine hung assembly as such. Goa, I remember that Goa people defeated BJP 5 years back. It was a complete anti-incumbent mandate. It was a post-poll scenario that got them into power.
And post-poll scenarios certainly cannot be ruled out in Punjab, because there's unprecedented fragmentation of the vote seeking. The small parties, the farmers groups, the BSP, the Akalis are playing for their own constituency, the PM and the captain in alliance. बहुत ज़्यादा fragmentation है. It is actually the most interesting election of this round. Punjab, so unpredictable. Leaving it there, but all of you have made claims, the 3 politicians. 10 मार्च को आपको मैं याद दिलाऊंगी कि आज आपने क्या बोला, तो प्लीज बदलना मत, क्योंकि रिकॉर्ड पे है और हम आप सबको वापस बुला के दोबारा पूछेंगे. Thank you, Surjit ji, Ravinder ji, Parvinder ji, and Yashwant and Chander. Always a pleasure. To our audience, see you tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.